ABC News Live.
Tonight, the scorching temperatures that won't let up. The unrelenting heat and oppressive conditions impacting some 70 million Americans nationwide. The high temperatures putting people in danger in several states and causing traffic issues in others, with the nation's leading passenger train company, Amtrak, warning of slowed down service in light of the heat. Plus, 1 week away from the first presidential debate of the 2024 election, the earliest debate in modern history, and both candidates are taking steps to lower expectations. The president heads to Camp David for preparation. Donald Trump huddles with senior advisors, and we get word on the potential third-party spoilers and their debate chances. And it was one of the most dominant advocacy groups in the country, fighting off gun control efforts nationwide. But now, after multiple scandals and lawsuits, it's facing a historic drop in membership. In tonight's Prime Focus, we report on the existential fight within the NRA. We hear from members and the organization's president in the first television network interview in nearly a decade. Good evening, everyone. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We're following those stories and much more, including the state of emergency and major disaster declaration in New Mexico as authorities respond to one of the worst wildfires in the state's history, the government response, and the millions impacted. Plus, celebrating actor Donald Sutherland, his many unforgettable award-winning roles, the touching tribute from his son, Kiefer Sutherland. And despite the heat, the summer concert rush is alive and well. But which artists are hitting the road? The biggest tours of the season, when we take a look by the numbers. But we do begin with that extreme heat, with summer now officially underway. 126 million Americans are on alert for dangerous heat in the Northeast, Midwest, South, and also the West. It's this heat dome that's fueling this unrelenting heat, and it's on the move tonight, stretching coast to coast. The heat causing several fires in the New York City area, including a large brush fire in Secaucus, New Jersey, sending smoke over Interstate 95, threatening a massive warehouse near busy railroad tracks. The nation's busiest rail corridor from Philadelphia to New York to New Haven forced to suspend trains because of the heat. And in New Mexico, the wildfires have now claimed at least 2 lives, burning nearly 1,400 structures. The governor there issuing a major disaster declaration. When will the extreme heat break? Ginger Z will have the forecast in a moment, but we do begin with ABC's Stephanie Ramos here in New York.
Tonight, in stifling heat, New York City firefighters battling massive fires, with more than 127 million Americans under heat alerts coast to coast.
The firefighters have extended aerial ladders on 3 sides of this fire, just trying to get water down on it.
Thick smoke billowing into the air in the Bronx, several businesses damaged. In Manhattan's Soho neighborhood, firefighters battling this residential fire. The FDNY taking precautions in this heat.
We usually rotate the members out due to the extreme conditions, make sure everybody's hydrated and doing well.
Showing us the coolers attached to fire trucks they use to stay hydrated.
Every morning before the start of each tour, come up here and we'll replenish the water and the ice to stay cool throughout the day.
In Philadelphia, the city declaring a heat emergency, opening dozens of cooling centers. Azor Baker and his cleaning crew forced to adapt.
We had to come out a little early ahead of the sun so that, the sun don't catch us, because that sun is beaming.
Amid these high temperatures tonight, major disruptions along the nation's busiest rail corridor. Amtrak suspending service for hours from Philadelphia through New York City to New Haven, Connecticut, due to a malfunctioning circuit breaker. And a brush fire impacting New Jersey transit trains. Lauren Hughes briefly stuck on her train.
The train turned off and we were stuck on the tracks for, I think, maybe an hour or two with no air conditioning.
Metro trains in the Washington, D.C. area already being slowed when traveling above ground due to the heat.
So many tentacles to this heat. Stephanie Ramos joins us now. Stephanie, that heat certainly took a toll on Amtrak's Northeast corridor. Has service been able to resume?
Yes, Lindsay, we've just learned that Amtrak was able to resume service along the busy Northeast corridor, but they are warning commuters of significant delays here.
You see all the crowds right behind you scrambling to try to get on those trains. Stephanie Ramos, thank you. And President Biden has approved New Mexico's request for expedited disaster aid as the wildfires continue to burn. Kana Whitworth reports.
Tonight, with fires raging out of control in New Mexico, President Biden approving a major disaster declaration for the state, sending more federal help for devastated communities. More than 23,000 acres have burned, and there's still 0% containment. At least 1,400 buildings destroyed near the town of Ruidoso. And tonight, we're hearing from the family of Patrick Pearson, a grandfather who couldn't escape the flames because of a broken leg.
It's heartbreaking to know that he didn't make it, to know that he was trying to run for his life, trying to get away from the fire.
And tonight, those areas charred by wildfire now facing another challenge. Storms and flash flooding unleashing this river of mud.
The fire conditions will improve in the coming days, but we are not out of the woods yet.
So still reasons for concern there. Kana joins us now from California, a state that has fire concerns of its own. Kana, what are you learning tonight?
Well, amid those concerns, Lindsay, the biggest one right now in California is the Sites fire. And firefighters have a really ominous warning tonight, Lindsay. They're saying that already this year, they have seen a nearly 15% increase in the acreage burned from this time last year. That is a really scary statistic, Lindsay.
Certainly is. All right, Kana, thank you. Our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z, has been tracking it all for us tonight and all week long. Hey, Ginger.
Hey, Lindsay, we have officially made it to 90 degrees for New York City. That's nearly a month late. And unlike that early and long heat wave for parts of New England that is now coming to an end, we're seeing these storms ride along the ridge. We call them ridge riders. There are flood watches from New Mexico and Utah over to Minnesota. Severe thunderstorms from Toledo or the Toledo area and Detroit, Ann Arbor over to New England. So we'll watch that for tonight. But under that ridge, which is sticking around and actually kind of backtracking through the weekend, we're going to see more heat advisories. Those excessive heat watches are now out for Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia because temperatures are going to get to around 100, but then the feels likes are going to be closer to 105 or 110. So it will be in that dangerous category, especially if you're doing anything strenuous outside for a long period of time. Numbers are high all the way back to Chicago. Excessive heat warning is now on for Phoenix. They were hot again today. That heat advisories are building back into Northern California, that Sacramento Valley, and the numbers are going to stay hot as we go through the weekend and even early next week, which will dry more of those fuels out for the fires, unfortunately. And just wanted to say that this, everybody wants this to come to an end. Unfortunately, it looks quite toasty going all the way through the end of June and now July.
So if you noticed, I stopped asking you, is there any relief in sight? I said, you know what, it's time out for that question, but you certainly have the right weather gear there, those tank tops, just what the doctor ordered. Yes. Ginger, thank you. Now to the race for the White House in the first presidential debate 1 week from tonight. How are President Biden and former President Trump preparing for the face-off? And after President Biden won a coin toss, which podium did he choose? And who will have the last word? Here's Rachel Scott.
With just 1 week to go until the first presidential debate, President Joe Biden tonight traveling to Camp David to hunker down with a team of advisors as he prepares to face off against Donald Trump. And tonight, we are learning new details about how the debate will unfold. Biden won a coin toss and got to pick where he would stand on the stage. He chose the podium that will show up on the right side of the television screen. Trump then got to pick the order of closing statements and decided he would have the last word. For both, the stakes couldn't be higher. In an interview with David, Biden laying out his strategy.
What do you think you need to accomplish on that debate stage?
Say what I think. Let him say what he thinks. The things he said are off the wall. I want to be a dictator on day one. I want to move in a direction where he talks about, suspending the Constitution. All I have to do is hear what he says, remind people what he says and what I believe and what he believes. He's about him. I'm about the country.
Are you ready for this debate?
Yes.
At Camp David, Biden's former chief of staff, Ron Klain, will lead the prep sessions, which will include full 90-minute mock debates with the president standing at a mock podium.
Now, Joe Biden,
Trump taking a different approach.
Is anybody going to watch the debate?
No mock debates for him. Instead, sources say Trump has held more than a dozen policy meetings with Republican allies, including Senators J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, and his longtime political advisor Kellyanne Conway. And now, after weeks of attacking Biden's stamina and mental fitness, tonight Trump taking a different tune, saying he's not underestimating Biden on the debate stage, calling him a worthy debater.
All I can say is this. I watched him with Paul Ryan, and he destroyed Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan with the water. He was chugging water at a left and right. I didn't think a human being would be able to drink so much water at one time. and he beat Paul Ryan. So I'm not underestimating him. It is what it is.
Rachel Scott joins us now. Rachel, how are organizers ensuring that there will be order at next week's debate?
Yeah, Lindsay, you remember those past debates that have erupted into shouting matches between President Biden and former President Donald Trump. So to avoid that this time around, the candidates' microphones will only be turned on when it's their turn to speak, Lindsay.
We'll see how effective that is. All right, Rachel, our thanks to you. Now to the terrifying moments on board a Southwest passenger jet from Las Vegas to Oklahoma City when the plane suddenly dropped to about 525 feet above ground, coming close to a school while trying to land. ABC's Victor Oquendo has the details.
Tonight, the FAA investigating yet another concerning incident on a Southwest Airlines flight after a plane dropped to roughly 525 feet as it made its approach into Oklahoma City. A low-altitude alarm alerting air traffic control.
4069, low altitude alert. You good out there?
The plane passing roughly 625 feet over a high school. The flight taking off from Las Vegas Tuesday night, heading to Oklahoma City. It then pulled up and did a loop minutes later. Southwest stating the flight landed safely at Will Rogers World Airport, touching down just after 12 a.m. It comes just days after we learned a Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8 off the coast of Hawaii came within just 400 feet of slamming into the ocean in April. No one was injured, but the flight was diverted back to Honolulu.
Victor Oquendo joins us now. Victor, what's Southwest Airlines saying about this?
So in this latest incident in Oklahoma City, Southwest says that they are in contact with the FAA to understand and address any irregularities with the aircraft's approach to the airport. Lindsay?
Victor Oquendo for us. Thanks so much, Victor. There will be no charges for a USC student accused in the stabbing death of a homeless man. The student says he believed that the man was breaking into a car near his fraternity. ABC's Ike Ajachi has the latest.
Tonight, a USC student will not face charges after police say he confronted a homeless man allegedly breaking into a car and then fatally stabbed him. Authorities in Los Angeles say 19-year-old Ivan Gallegos and two friends approached the burglary suspect Xavier Surf around 8:15 p.m. on Monday behind Gallegos' fraternity house on Greek Row.
The person reporting advised that he confronted the suspect, and the suspect told him that he had a gun, resulting in the person reporting, stabbing the suspect.
The burglary suspect pronounced dead at the scene. Gallegos taken into custody and booked on $2 million bail. The incident occurring just blocks from campus and nearly a mile from where actor Johnny Wachter was shot and killed back in May after he interrupted thieves trying to steal his car's catalytic converter. Tonight in a statement, the district attorney declining to pursue charges against the business school junior, saying in part, "We believe that Mr. Gallegos' actions were driven by a genuine fear for his life and the lives of others. Our heart goes out to the deceased families, friends, and everyone impacted by this tragic incident."
Ike Ajachi joins us now. Ike, were there any weapons found at the scene?
Well, Lindsay, sources tell ABC News tonight that no weapons were found at the scene, and they say that USC student maintains he believed that burglary suspect was armed. Lindsay?
Ike Ajachi for us. Thanks so much, Ike. Rap superstar Travis Scott was arrested following a heated confrontation in Miami. Police say they responded to a call about Scott arguing and yelling obscenities while on a yacht at the Miami Beach Marina. Scott was led away, but officials say he was later arrested while trying to get back onto the yacht. The rapper was charged with trespassing and disorderly intoxication. Scott was ultimately released from jail on a $650 bond. The first law of its kind in the U.S., Louisiana will require public classrooms to display the 10 Commandments in all schools from elementary to high school in a large, easy-to-read font. Now, at least one other state is already moving to do the same. Here's Selena Wang.
A day after Louisiana became the first state to require all public school classrooms to display the 10 Commandments, tonight, top officials in Texas are trying to do the same. Louisiana's Republican Governor Jeff Landry declaring this as he signed the bill into law.
Because if you want to respect the rule of law, you got to start from the original lawgiver, which was Moses.
The new law describes the 10 Commandments as one of the, quote, foundational documents of our state and national government, ordering them displayed in kindergarten through high school classrooms in large, easily readable font, accompanied by a context statement calling the commandments a prominent part of American public education for almost 3 centuries. But civil liberties groups call the law a blatant violation of the separation of church and state, and the National Education Association outraged.
Our schools are places where we welcome all students from all races, from all places, who practice religion, different religions, or none at all. And this law flies in the face of that basic foundation of the democracy in this country.
Selena Wang joins us now from the White House. Selena, is there any legal action expected from the ACLU?
Yeah, Lindsay, well, the ACLU is vowing to take legal action. Now, we know that in 1980, the Supreme Court had rejected a similar law in Kentucky. But as we know, the Supreme Court is different now. It is more conservative, so it's unclear how this legal challenge is going to play out. Lindsay?
Wait and see there. Selena Wang from the White House. Thanks so much, Selena. The trial for a Russian-American citizen accused of treason in Russia started today. The former ballerina Ksenia Karolina appeared in court on accusations that she raised money to send to the Ukrainian army. Karolina, who is a dual citizen and resident of Los Angeles, was arrested at a Russian airport in February when she was on her way to visit her grandmother, according to her family. She faces a sentence of up to 12 years if convicted. The trial has been adjourned until August. Tonight, the Philippines is accusing China of piracy after China rammed Philippine vessels on a resupply mission in disputed waters off the South China Sea. The clash became violent. Here's Britt Clennett from Hong Kong.
Tonight, dramatic new video of a tense clash in the South China Sea. Chinese sailors seen armed with long knives and machetes, ramming Philippine vessels on a resupply mission, taking bags from the decks, stabbing holes in an inflatable dinghy. Philippine officials say one sailor was seriously injured, losing a thumb. The Philippines now accusing China of piracy, while China claims the vessels illegally entered the waters. The two countries fiercely contesting control over the second Thomas Shoal, a half-submerged reef currently occupied by a Philippine warship. Monday's incident, the latest confrontation in the disputed waters. In March, the Philippines accusing China of carrying out dangerous maneuvers that led to a collision. Tonight, the U.S. calling China's actions provocative.
We continue to stand by our ally, the Philippines, and we're going to continue to call out this kind of irresponsible and reckless behavior when we see it.
Lindsay, the U.S. has a mutual defense treaty with the Philippines, and we're told the administration is watching the events in the South China Sea very closely. Further escalation on the part of the Chinese could trigger a U.S. military response. Lindsay?
We'll be watching that, Britt. Thank you. Hollywood is mourning the loss of one of its greatest actors. Actor Donald Sutherland had a standout career that included more than 150 film credits, including movies like MASH, Ordinary People, and more recently, The Hunger Games. ABC World News Tonight anchor David Muir has more on Sutherland's extraordinary life and career.
Tonight, paying tribute to Donald Sutherland, the prolific actor whose roles spanned more than half a century, nearly 200 films and TV roles.
I don't even know what you do.
I'm a writer.
His breakout role in 1967 as the Army misfit in The Dirty Dozen.
Which one of you guys wants to be a general?
What kind of a general, sir?
Just a plain, ordinary, everyday, home-loving American general.
I'd rather be a civilian, sir.
The irreverent battlefield surgeon in 1970's MASH.
I think you will find these accommodating. They're quite dry. Don't you use olives? We do have to make certain concessions to the war. We're 3 miles from the front line.
Opposite Jane Fonda in Clute. Mary Tyler Moore in Ordinary People.
Can't you see anything except in terms of how it affects you?
Susan Sarandon in A Dry White Season.
To you, this is just another story. One more murder isn't news. But let me tell you something. It's news to me.
And Jennifer Lawrence in The Hunger Games.
I've been watching you. And you watching me. I'm afraid we've both been played for fools.
Born in 1935, he knew early on he wanted to be an actor.
It defies logic. Who knows? I don't know. When I was 16 years old, I'd never seen a play. I said to my dad that I wanted to be an actor.
His son Kiefer would go on to act as well, together in Forsaken.
God is not responsible for the life you choose. I did not choose it!
The advice he gave his son.
The only thing I ever said was that if you can be as honest as you possibly can be and pursue that, then you'll be real happy.
His son Kiefer saying tonight, with a heavy heart, I tell you that my father, Donald Sutherland, has passed away. I personally think one of the most important actors in the history of film, never daunted by a role, good, bad, or ugly. He loved what he did, and he did what he loved. A life well lived. Tonight, Michael Douglas writing, what a lovely, talented, and curious man. Henry Winkler telling Kiefer Sutherland, your dad was indeed singular. Nancy Sinatra with simply, "This hurts, Godspeed." And tonight here, Donald Sutherland, in his own words, on acting and the fame that comes with it.
Somebody says, "Hey, Donald," it's terrific. It's lovely. It's that exchange is wonderful. Everybody pays a lot of money so that I have a wonderful life, and it's truly a great life, and I enjoy the exchange.
We enjoyed watching him. Our thanks to David Muir for that. Still much more to get to here on Prime tonight. The latest artificial intelligence company facing backlash and now a lawsuit for how it handles news stories. But next, from internal scandals to high-profile lawsuits, the NRA, once one of the most powerful lobbying groups in the country, is finding its membership at a low point. In tonight's Prime Focus, our Jay O'Brien sits down with the NRA's president, the first network television interview of the group's leader in almost a decade, and he asks, where does the group go from here?
Your political contributions are down. Your membership revenue is down. There were concerns about making payroll at some point.
Listen, every organization has its naysayers, but they're in a minority in whatever organization I've been involved in, and this one is no different.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
I experienced a lot of rejection, a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. I have my days where you gotta do whatever you can to crawl out of those dark holes. You're gonna feel lonely. There was a lot of personal stuff in my life that was really falling apart. It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment. I feel like every pair of bell bottoms all come with a different story. 19 years old, pulling up to Nashville, I was terrified.
Not everybody makes it.
I was a fish out of water. At times, I was too country for country.
You were living in a trailer for a while.
I remember sitting out in this camper trailer, crying my eyes out, thinking, is it ever gonna happen? But Mom and Daddy didn't raise no quitter. I have had the hardest 2 months of my life. My daddy has not been doing well. We've been through a lot these past few years, and it kind of makes me emotional. Y'all gonna see me cry again. I was scrolling on TikTok. I noticed a few videos of my butt that had gone viral. At first, I was laughing. I'm like, these people ain't right. No matter what size you are beautiful.
Being a woman in country music can be tough.
And the CMA Award for Album of the Year
for Female Vocalist of the Year,
Entertainer of the Year
goes to
Lainey Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby.
Lainey's album, Bell Bottom Country, changed the game.
There ain't nothing better than this. Hold my beer, watch this.
What she is doing right now is changing country music.
I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Go, Lainey!
It's mind-blowing. It's magic. I'm proud of myself. I really am. I have worked my ass off. Now it's time to see what's next.
That's what I'm talking about! Woo!
Are you ready to celebrate? Sunday, June 30th, across the country. See, experience some of the nation's greatest Pride celebrations all in one place as they happen live right here on ABC News Live. Pride across America. Celebrate joy, love, freedom, and pride. Sunday, June 30th, starting at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. Streaming on ABC News Live and stream on Hulu.
Welcome back, everyone. It was once one of the most powerful lobbying groups in the country, influencing gun policy on Capitol Hill and in virtually every state coast to coast, talking about the NRA. But a number of internal scandals and lawsuits have weakened the organization, with some reports saying the NRA's membership is at a 10-year low. But its leadership would urge people not to count them out as their passionate members look to November for their next big moment. In tonight's Prime Focus, Jay O'Brien meets with members of the group and sits down with the NRA's president, the first network television interview of the group's leader in nearly a decade, asking the question, Is the NRA in an existential crisis?
The NRA. 3 letters almost every American knows, even if they've never held a gun, bought a bullet, or pulled a trigger. It's an organization older than the Air Force or the state of Colorado, but the National Rifle Association is now facing an existential threat unlike any other in its 150-year history.
A jury holding the National Rifle Association liable for financial mismanagement.
We're in Dallas.
What, you came all the way down here from Oklahoma?
At the NRA's annual convention to find out if the once politically dominant group, now emerging from a scandal, is still relevant this election year in a country with more guns than people.
There's an active shooter situation in South Florida.
Gripped by shooting after shooting in American theaters, churches, stores, and schools.
I got guns at home. I intend to keep them, and nobody's going to get them from me.
Guns are a big part of my life. You know, that's my hobby.
At this convention, the NRA elected new leadership, reformers, after the organization's enigmatic CEO, Wayne LaPierre, the architect of the NRA's pro-gun politics for decades,
we're your voice. That's what NRA is.
resigned earlier this year in the heat of a scandal. In a case brought by New York's Attorney General, a jury found LaPierre and another executive liable for using NRA money for lavish personal expenses. LaPierre's legal team previously said it plans to appeal. The NRA has denied any institutional wrongdoing. In Dallas, as the dust settled from that case, the embattled organization picked Bob Barr, a longtime board member and former Georgia Republican congressman who first rose to fame during the Clinton impeachment, to serve as the NRA's new president.
Thank you for doing this.
So we asked to sit down with Barr as he takes the reins of perhaps the most controversial advocacy group in the nation.
Okay. All right.
One that has blocked attempt after attempt for gun control legislation. It is the first network television interview the NRA has given in nearly 10 years.
One of your opponents, the organization Everytown, said because of the turmoil inside the NRA, quote, the gun lobby has never been weaker. Is the NRA weak?
No, the NRA isn't weak. You look at, I suppose our opponents, could take just one slice in time or one issue.
It's a pretty big slice.
Well, it depends.
Financial impropriety, civil judgment.
On how you look at it. If we're talking about successes and the impact and the relevancy of the NRA, you look at our victories. 29 states now, the highest ever, have constitutional carry. That's because of this organization. We are emerging, from the challenge posed by the state of New York Attorney General that tried to put us out of business. That was her goal.
The NRA isn't out of business, but it is reportedly struggling. Internal documents obtained by the publication The Reload, which covers Second Amendment issues, show membership dues were down $21 million last year compared to the year before.
Your political contributions are down. Your membership revenue is down. There were concerns about making payroll at some point.
Listen, every organization has its naysayers, but they're in a minority in whatever organization I've been involved in, and this one is no different.
When asked about reforms, Barr told us he's open to improving the organization, but says that doesn't mean the NRA will bend from its staunch opposition to any gun control policies.
In Uvalde, in Buffalo, the list goes on.
And
these shooters...
Uvalde was the most awful example I've ever seen of ineffective law enforcement.
But he bought the gun. That's true, but he bought the gun legally.
And
how do you stop that?
Are you ever going to be able to stop everybody from committing a crime with a gun? No. That's the same way.
But you can't cut it down?
Sure, we can cut it down. We can cut it down by better, more effective enforcement of existing laws.
In a study of hundreds of cases spanning more than 50 years, the Department of Justice found most mass shooters purchased at least some of their guns legally. And in most states, a buyer only needs to be 18 years old to purchase a rifle. They still must undergo a background check. 2 years ago, a group of congressional Democrats and Republicans passed the bipartisan Safer Communities Act, the most significant gun legislation in decades, expanding background checks for gun buyers under 21, promoting red flag laws, and preventing domestic abusers from owning a firearm. But in the aftermath of shooting after shooting, the president has called for more, a renewal of the assault weapons ban, which expired in 2004.
It's time once again to do what I did when I was a senator. Ban assault weapons. They're weapons of war.
Barr told us he rejects the characterization that an AR-15 is a weapon of war.
The difference is one is fully automatic and one is not. I mean, that is a key difference that a lot of our critics just either don't understand or they know better and they just slough over it anyway.
You're making the distinction between automatic and semi-automatic.
Absolutely, there's a major difference.
But even still, have you seen what an AR-15 does to a body versus what a 9mm pistol does?
I've seen what a shotgun can do to a body.
An AR-15?
I've seen virtually any firearm can do tremendous damage to a human body.
That's gonna be the new one we just launched about a week ago.
We wanted to ask NRA members about an argument the group repeatedly makes.
So just to press that button?
That with a Democrat in the White House, their Second Amendment rights are at risk.
Everything so far that Biden has done on the Second Amendment hasn't affected me. I have a license to carry in Texas.
And it hasn't affected you at all?
It hasn't affected me a bit or my purchase of any firearm I want.
Within the 3 days the NRA held this convention, the website, the Gun Violence Archive, which tracks gun crimes nationwide, reports more than 150 Americans were killed with a firearm.
Where are you in terms of gun policy?
Star LaCroix and Jay Crawford wanted to talk to us about that.
So I do definitely believe, in our rights to bear arms. I do think there should be some safeties in place, like if there's some mental health issues.
It's getting higher and higher, the number of kids that are dying by gun violence, and that's unacceptable.
We wondered what Bob Barr thought.
Do you think the United States has a gun violence problem?
The United States has a violence problem. We have a problem
with violence problem.
We have a problem with crime in this country. And if we focus on the instrumentality, we're going to lose sight of the forest for the trees. We have a cultural problem in America that is many-faceted. We can talk about any one of those for hours.
Does it involve guns?
We have a lot of crime that doesn't involve guns in this country.
But a lot of it does.
Well, and those people should be identified, investigated, prosecuted, and put in jail.
Barr told us the NRA has never advocated for unrestricted access to weapons, but believes it's not how you get a gun that needs to change. It's everything else.
There are many areas where the NRA would be willing to work with people from anywhere on the political spectrum, such as increasing the safety in our schools, increasing the training for those who might be in contact with groups of young people.
Is this going to be a fundamentally different NRA?
No, I mean, the fundamental mission of the NRA is the same today as it was 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. And that is to teach responsible gun ownership, responsible gun usage, and to make programs available to both our members and the population generally that allow people to exercise their God-given and constitutionally guaranteed right to defend themselves.
That's a line the gun rights group has repeated for decades, regardless of who's been in charge. The question facing the NRA now, is anyone listening?
To be determined. Our thanks to Jay O'Brien for that. Still much more to get to tonight. Coming up, buyer beware, the urgent warning about potentially counterfeit weight loss drugs. And next, there's nothing like a summertime concert, but which artists are hitting the road? The biggest tours of the season by the numbers.
What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions. Operational nuclear reactor. So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA? Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you.
David, good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
I watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
Let's go.
The ship is incredible. It feels like living in a science fiction movie.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Wow, look at that.
Oh my gosh.
Well, dead ahead. Turn on!
We are heading into the unknown.
Hammer, hammer, hammer.
It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
What's good to watch, read? Where can I get a great deal on what I'm just dying to buy? Oh, it's all right here. GMA Life. All the exclusive and buzziest celebrity good stuff. Deals and steals with amazing savings and the coolest lifestyle tips from Good Morning America.
I love that so much.
GMA Life. Streaming weekends on ABC News Live. Your weekend just got a little better with GMA Life.
More Americans choose ABC News, America's #1 news source. Now streaming on Hulu.
I'm a rock and roll star. I'm not a saint. I'm John Bon Jovi.
John Bon Jovi. The new special, what you have not yet seen. John Bon Jovi with Michael Strahan. Now streaming on Hulu.
Hi, I'm Andy. And I'm Sabrina. And we're moms, juggling tons of stuff every day, like all you moms out there. And you know what we love? Really love? Pop culture. So listen now to our new podcast, Pop Culture Moms, wherever you get your podcasts.
Why do so many people start their day here?
From ABC News, this is Start Here.
To be in the know and get a different take on the day's top stories.
A lot of news today, so let's get into it.
Listen now to the Daily News Podcast honored with 4 Edward R. Murrow Awards and see why the New York Times calls it a news podcast worth listening to. Start Here, ABC News. Make it your daily first listen.
Now, that's a part of the story I bet you didn't see coming.
Wherever you get your podcasts, Start Here.
Here's to Good Mornings in America.
Can you feel the love? Oh, yeah.
Mornings that inspire, filled with hope, kindness, joyous surprises, and so much fun.
This is crazy. This is absolutely crazy.
Start your day with Good Morning America's Ray of Sunshine, highlighting the best of America and helping
make dreams come true. Wow. I'm just so happy. It's so good.
Get ready to smile and put the good into your morning, America, because
you know what will make the morning better? A little ray of sunshine.
Reporting from the Normandy coast for the 80th anniversary of D-Day, I'm David Muir. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back, everyone. Summer is synonymous with live music, and if waving a lighter in an arena isn't quite your jam, then think picnic baskets and blankets and speakers the size of cars. StubHub recently put out its annual summer tour preview, looking at the biggest concerts and artists on tour around the world. Who are people heading to see? That is our By the Numbers. Maybe it comes as no surprise. Taylor Swift, for the second year in a row, is the most in-demand artist on StubHub's list. In fact, history truly repeats itself because 5 artists on this year's top 10 were most in demand last summer, too, including Swift, Coldplay, Morgan Wallen, Bruce Springsteen, and Pink. $440, that's the average ticket price for a female artist in the top 10. Compare that to $262 for the average male act in the top 10. Not even close. And travel is a big theme this year. StubHub says 3 times as many Americans are traveling abroad for shows this year compared to last. And coming from the other direction, there's been a 41% increase in international fans coming here to the U.S. In all, StubHub says people from 195 different countries have bought summer concert tickets on their site. We should highlight someone just outside of that top 10. Country artist George Strait last week played to a more than 110,000 fans at Texas A&M, reportedly the largest ticketed concert in U.S. history. And we still have much more ahead here on Prime. Coming out later in life, this Pride Month, we celebrate those who found a way to step into their true identities. Plus, our TikTok is all about fun on the farm. Meet the comedian/farmer/photographer, showing that humor comes with working on a ranch.
If you were coming of age in the 1980s, the Brat Pack was near the center of your cultural awareness. But for those of us experiencing it from the inside, the Brat Pack was something very different. On June 10th, 1985, New York Magazine published Hollywood's Brat Pack. I just remember seeing that cover and thinking, oh. From then on, my career and the career of everyone who was involved was branded to the Brat Pack.
I'm really sorry that article had to come out.
I've never talked to anybody about what that was like. So I thought it might be interesting to try and contact everyone who was in the Brat Pack. Hey, Emilio Estevez. This is Andrew McCarthy calling you. Hey, Allie. Hey, Demi. Hey, Molly. Let's call Rob. Hello. Judd? Me? You around? You were not interested in talking about the Brat Pack for years.
I turned everything down.
How come you're talking to me?
Because you called me. It was time that we clear the air on a couple of things.
I love your stuff, Bob. Hey, thank you. I hated the Brat Pack for decades. What a disaster. If you could have the Brat Pack name not exist, would you?
It really irritated me. They said, what's more important to you, the movie or your life? And I said,
the movie!
Andrew.
Have you talked to the others? The others, like, again, it feels like a cult or something.
Yeah.
Why did we take it as an offense? As opposed to like
the brat.
Because we were young.
We were afraid we were brats, you know? Are you in the Brat Pack?
I'm Brat Pack adjacent.
That's what I was saying.
I am not in the Brat Pack.
I shot you back in the day.
You did not, Andrew. No, you did not.
Being in the Brat Pack not only changed all of our lives, it changed what entertainment is. I mean, I'm not going to say we were the Beatles or anything.
Well, we didn't fill Shea Stadium. There were moments.
We could have. 1985, I think we could have.
So what are you filming?
Oh, we're just doing this documentary.
What's it about?
Ancient history.
Wherever news breaks, ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Hey, good morning, America. Good morning, America.
Good morning, America.
Are you ready? Covering the biggest events in the country right now.
There's a lot going on here this morning.
You don't just see it, you feel it.
I'm in.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
I'll be here.
I am here and so happy.
I'm in.
I'm in too.
Michael, George, Clara, Ginger.
The Supreme Court upholds a Trump-era tax on overseas investments. 1 year after the Titan submersible disaster, the co-founder of OceanGate is planning a trip to one of the world's deepest underwater sinkholes. And the Wildcat, back from the brink of extinction. These stories and much more in tonight's rundown.
The Supreme Court announced today a decision to uphold a tax on foreign income. The justices ruling in favor of a 2017 tax law that allows the U.S. to issue a one-time tax on profit from American investments in foreign businesses, requiring shareholders in those companies to pay taxes on the earnings the companies made. Even though these shareholders weren't selling their stocks themselves, they were asked to pay money on the earnings of the company. The tax was part of the Tax Cuts and Jobs Act of 2017, signed into law by former President Donald Trump. A federal judge in Maryland is ordering the owners of the Dolly container ship to not help its crew members leave the country so they can be deposed in an ongoing civil litigation over the crash and collapse of the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore. The Dolly's crew consists of men from Sri Lanka and India. In court documents, attorneys for the city of Baltimore say they're worried if the men leave the country, they'll never be questioned or deposed. Another artificial intelligence company is under scrutiny for how it handles news stories. Perplexity sells itself as an AI search engine that's able to search the web for answers to users' questions, summarize what it finds, and also cite its sources. But now Forbes is threatening to take legal action against the startup after the news outlet found Perplexity replicated writing from its website without proper attribution. Now Forbes says it wants reimbursement for lost ad revenue. Perplexity says its technology has a few rough edges and that it's being improved. In Washington state, Mount St. Helens is rumbling. Over the last several months, some 350 earthquakes have been detected in and around the volcano. The U.S. Geological Survey says these quakes are deep, well below mean sea level. The tremors are likely tied to what scientists call a recharge event, in which magma slowly rises from beneath, building additional pressure. A year on from the Titan submersible disaster, OceanGate's living co-founder is organizing a trip to one of the world's deepest underwater sinkholes with a different company, Blue Marble Exploration. The expedition will center on a 663-foot sinkhole in the Bahamas called Dean's Blue Hole. Blue Marble's website advises a list of challenges, including possible openings along the main chamber to the Atlantic Ocean, which could potentially cause unforeseen currents, and light not penetrating the lowest points of the cavern, forcing them to operate in complete darkness. Things are looking up for the Iberian lynx. The pointy-eared wildcat was on the brink of extinction just 2 decades ago. But thanks to conservation efforts, the International Union for Conservation of Nature says the cat is no longer an endangered species. Nature reserves in southern Spain and Portugal are estimated to contain around 2,000 adults and juveniles.
Buyer beware. These popular weight loss medications can be hard to find and expensive. And now Eli Lilly has penned an open letter urgent caution for people looking to take these drugs. ABC's Eva Pilgrim has this story.
Drug maker behind some of the popular drugs used for diabetes and obesity, Eli Lilly, with an urgent warning about fake and compounded versions of its Mounjaro and Zepbound medications. With intense demand creating shortages and their high price tag, many people turning to compounding pharmacies and online searches to find alternatives. Lilly writing an open letter saying it is deeply concerned with the online sale of fakes, saying they will never sell their medication on social media, sharing photos to help consumers see the difference between real and counterfeit products. Real Zepbound and Mounjaro have purple injection buttons, federally trademarked logos for the medication names, a triangular base cap in this trademark shade of gray, and each has the Lilly logo. Currently, there is a shortage of several doses of these weight loss medications, according to the FDA, allowing compounding pharmacies to make and sell versions of the drugs. Lilly testing some compounded products, saying they found issues ranging from bacteria to impurities, and in at least one case, a product that was nothing more than sugar alcohol.
Never inject yourself with something you bought off social media. The most important thing we can do to protect ourselves is to buy them from a reliable source.
Good advice there, thanks to Eva. The rap beef between rappers Kendrick Lamar and Drake hit a new level as Kendrick Lamar performed some of his diss tracks at a sold-out concert in Los Angeles, including Not Like Us.
Are you my friend? Are we?
People know the words there. The concert also streamed live on Amazon Music, allowing fans from around the world to watch. It also featured appearances from artists like Dr. Dre, Ty Dolla $ign, and Tyler, the Creator, while Kendrick also performed the diss track Euphoria. Not Like Us was clearly the fan favorite, getting 4 encore performances. We turn now to our weekly segment, TikTok, where we take a closer look at the story behind the sensation. Our next guest has jokes up his sleeve, boots on the ground, and a camera always at the ready. Comedian, farmer, photographer Matt Matthews showcases his life on a farm near Birmingham, Alabama, to nearly 4.7 million followers on TikTok. Let's take a look.
What kind of physician? Anesthesiologist. You're an anesthesiologist. You put people to sleep. Okay. Oh, so you got money. So you are beautiful. How did you get with him? money. Duh.
Funny stuff there. Matt Matthews joins us now. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Hey, how are you?
I cannot complain. So in your most viral videos, we see you wearing a bathrobe, fussing at misbehaved animals, doing farm chores. Take us to the beginning. What led you to farm life?
You know, I grew up in Bessemer, Alabama, in government housing with an alcoholic mom, and I always loved animals. And I realized that as I got older, I didn't want to follow the same footsteps that my family followed and do the same things, and I didn't want to be another statistic. And so as I got older, I saved money, and I moved into a trailer park when I was 18 years old, right out of high school, and I bought a horse, and I leased her, and she was at a local boarding facility, and when I bought my first house, it had 10 acres, and so I had 2 horses, and then added like 5 chickens, and then added more and more animals. I love animals way more than people, so I just started adding more and more animals, and now here I am with too many.
How did you start sharing your farm life on TikTok?
During the pandemic, I got on TikTok, and I posted just a video of me just taking care of my animals, and it's ridiculous, and I'm wearing a bathrobe because I'm not going to put on regular clothes all the time. I don't like clothes. So I'm taking care of my animals in a bathrobe, and I'm cussing them out like they're my kids, and it got 17 million views, and I think I got like 500,000 followers overnight, and people were just talking about how much it made them laugh and how much it made them feel good, and they haven't laughed in a long time, and that made me feel good, was to make people laugh, and so I just kind of kept doing it.
I'm not finna. We hear your southern charm right there. Yeah. Do you have a favorite or a favorite or a least favorite farm chore?
Favorites? I don't got none of them. None of them are my favorite. When is work fun? I think my least favorite is probably cleaning the chicken coop, because baby, they stink. They stink.
Oh, really?
It is not good.
And you've plowed into comedy. Now you're on tour. What's that transition been like?
You know, now I got money, so it's great. It's incredible, honestly, to be able to stand on stage and just make people laugh and make them feel good. I think the biggest thing for me is to be able to take people out of their daily lives for 90 minutes and just make them forget about all of the bad things in their lives and make them laugh has been the most rewarding and incredible experience that I could have ever asked for.
And you'll be filming your first stand-up special in July, right in your hometown of Birmingham. What does it mean to you to bring your comedy back to where it all began?
It's great because I actually started this tour, this exact tour I started in my hometown in Birmingham. And it's really an incredible story to me because I started this show with 400 people in a comedy club in Birmingham. And I'm ending this tour back in Birmingham in my hometown with over 4,000 people filming my special in a theater that I grew up going to that is just historic and beautiful. It's going to be an incredible experience.
And in the fall, you're going to premiere a 6-episode YouTube series. What can you share with us about that?
It's a running joke on the internet that I'm good at everything. And this is just my way of saying I'm not good at everything. So I'm doing things like I'm cooking I learned how to cook at let's not go that far. I'm cooking at a soul food restaurant. I did bungee fitness, goat yoga, all kinds of really insane things.
Favorite soul food dish?
Oh, fried chicken and collard greens with hot sauce.
Oh, all right. You got us all hungry now. Doing the most with Matt. Hey, Matt, thank you so much for joining us for Farm Life Hilarity. Check out Matt on TikTok at Matt_Matthews. And as we celebrate Pride Month, we're honoring the members of the LGBTQ+ community who are coming out a little later in life. ABC's Sam Champion has this story.
Like a fine wine, some things get better with age. And for the seasoned members of the LGBTQ+ community, stepping proudly into your identity later in life can open up a whole new world.
It's very common, actually, for older people in the LGBTQ community to come out late in life. Often when we were younger, there was just no space. There was no openness to coming out. And one of the basic misconceptions is that LGBTQ elders don't exist because they are invisible.
SAGE, an organization that advocates on behalf of the LGBTQ elders, estimates that by 2030, there will be 7 million queer people who are 50 and older in the U.S.
it's everyone's birthright to live in our gender. And to know that and not be able to live that, it's like a living death.
Decorated author and poet Diana Getch documenting the pre-transition period of her life in a memoir titled This Body I Wore.
I realized that if I don't write this down, I don't think many people will. And we were trans and didn't know it. So many of us. And then so many of us never made it out of the 20th century.
Getch says it was not until around age 50 that she felt she could safely transition and live in her gender full time.
I mean, as much elation as we have, the greater, we're more relieved as well.
And for farmers and activists Donna Deere and Paulette Green, they are celebrating 50 years as a couple. But it was only 10 years ago that they were officially able to tie the knot.
It has always just been a constant relationship that has been that has flourished.
Together, the pair cultivating a passion for conservation and community service. The Maryland property they preserve, Mount Pleasant Acres Farms, once belonging to the family of Harriet Tubman and was a piece of the Underground Railroad.
Be true to yourself. Don't take anything for granted.
Donna and Paulette's lives now portrayed in a short documentary film called The Aunties, as they are affectionately known.
It has inspired other people that have seen the documentary to become more of themselves and to finding out more about themselves, as a whole. Because who we are has always just been very natural to us.
Our thanks to Sam Champion for that. And that is our show for this hour. I'm Lindsay Davis. Be sure to stay tuned to ABC News Live for more context and analysis of the day's top stories. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Coming up in the next hour, extreme heat ravages the annual pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia. Plus, counting down to the first presidential debate of the season, what to expect on stage from two men who already have a term under each of their belts.
You're watching America's #1 streaming news, ABC News Live. Breaking news, exclusives, live reporting across the globe. Keep streaming with ABC News Live.
They call him the Beauty Queen Killer. He's targeting young women in malls, posing as a photographer. Police believe he will strike again.
I am single. I am still keen in life. I want to enjoy the company of a number of women.
A string of abductions and murders.
One of the most wanted fugitives for the FBI.
Across the country, young women disappeared.
He controlled me. He tortured me.
How are you feeling? Do you remember what happened? One day at the mall,
I noticed this man standing around with a camera watching me. Handsome, charismatic, very persuasive. He approached me. He claimed that he could make me a model. This is the one point that I regret every second of my life. Boom, 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 boom.
it just changed like that.
He had his .45 pointed at me, and I never made it home.
I'm nervous for my family, nervous for every girl. I'm nervous for you.
I got my eyes taped shut. He started electrocuting me. You have to obey.
The word accomplice came up.
They insisted that Tina was involved. Was she complicit? Or was she a victim of it? It's very strange behavior.
I have never heard a story of a serial killer letting someone go. I'm wondering if you ever think, why?
Whether you believe me or not, it's my truth. Nobody knows the real story. I felt like there was no way you can escape. What do you do? How do you get out of it? What would you do?
The Beauty Queen Killer, 9 Days of Terror.
Streaming only on Hulu.
Babe Ruth, Hank Aaron, Shohei Ohtani, legends of the game. But now the list of greats redefined. From ABC News, Reclaim the Forgotten League, a side of the story of baseball you have never heard before like this. The award-winning podcast is back. Listen wherever you get your podcasts or scan the QR codes you see here.
Let's go.
We are heading into the unknown.
Oh my gosh.
We just saw what no one has seen before.
Well, dead ahead. Tag on! Hammer, hammer, hammer. It doesn't get any more cutting edge than this.
Reporting from Monterey Park, California, I'm Robin Roberts. Wherever the story is, we're going to take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Good evening, everyone. This is ABC News Live Prime. I'm Lindsay Davis. Thanks so much for streaming with us. We have a lot of news to get to this evening, including the scorching temperatures that just won't let up, the conditions impacting some more than 100 million Americans nationwide, the high temperatures putting people in danger in several states. Plus, 1 week away from the first presidential debate of the 2024 election, the earliest debate in modern history, and both candidates are taking steps to try to lower expectations. The president heads to Camp David for preparation. Donald Trump, meanwhile, huddling with senior advisors. And it's the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. We go to the summer solstice at Stonehenge. But we do begin with that extreme heat, with summer now officially underway. 127 million Americans are on alert for dangerous heat in the Northeast, Midwest, South, and also West. It's this heat dome that's fueling this unrelenting heat, and it's on the move tonight, stretching coast to coast. The heat is causing several fires in the New York City area, including a large brush fire in Secaucus, New Jersey. You can see it there, sending smoke over Interstate 95, threatening a massive warehouse near busy railroad tracks. The nation's busiest railroad corridor from Philadelphia to New York to New Haven forced to suspend trains because of the heat. And in New Mexico, the wildfires have now claimed at least 2 lives, burning nearly 1,400 structures. The governor there issuing a major disaster declaration. When will the extreme heat break? Ginger Z will have the forecast in a moment. But ABC's Stephanie Ramos leads us off here in New York.
Tonight, in stifling heat, New York City firefighters battling massive fires with more than 127 million Americans under heat alerts coast to coast.
The firefighters have extended aerial ladders on 3 sides of this fire, just trying to get water down on it.
Thick smoke billowing into the air in the Bronx, several businesses damaged. In Manhattan's Soho neighborhood, firefighters battling this residential fire. The FDNY taking precautions in this heat.
We usually rotate the members out due to the extreme conditions, making sure everybody's hydrated and doing well.
Showing us the coolers attached to fire trucks they use to stay hydrated.
Every morning before the start of each tour, come up here and we'll replenish the water and the ice to stay cool throughout the day.
In Philadelphia, the city declaring a heat emergency, opening dozens of cooling centers. Azor Baker and his cleaning crew forced to adapt.
We had to come out a little early ahead of the sun so that, the sun don't catch us, because that sun is beaming.
Amid these high temperatures tonight, major disruptions along the nation's busiest rail corridor. Amtrak suspending service for hours from Philadelphia through New York City to New Haven, Connecticut due to a malfunctioning circuit breaker. And a brush fire impacting New Jersey transit trains. Lauren Hughes briefly stuck on her train.
The train turned off and we were stuck on the tracks for, I think, maybe an hour or 2 with no air conditioning.
Metro trains in the Washington, D.C. area already being slowed when traveling above ground due to the heat.
So many tentacles to this heat. Stephanie Ramos joins us now. Stephanie, that heat certainly took a toll on Amtrak's Northeast corridor. Has service been able to resume?
Yes, Lizzie, we've just learned that Amtrak was able to resume service along the busy Northeast corridor, but they are warning commuters of significant delays here.
You see all the crowds right behind you scrambling to try to get on those trains. Stephanie Ramos, thank you. And President Biden has approved New Mexico's request for expedited disaster aid as the wildfires continue to burn. Kana Whitworth reports.
Tonight, with fires raging out of control in New Mexico, President Biden approving a major disaster declaration for the state, sending more federal help for devastated communities. More than 23,000 acres have burned, and there's still 0% containment. At least 1,400 buildings destroyed near the town of Ruidoso. And tonight, we're hearing from the family of Patrick Pearson, a grandfather who couldn't escape the flames because of a broken leg.
It's heartbreaking to know that he didn't make it, to know that he was trying to run for his life, trying to get away from the fire.
And tonight, those areas charred by wildfire now facing another challenge. Storms and flash flooding unleashing this river of mud.
The fire conditions will improve in the coming days, but we are not out of the woods yet.
So still reasons for concern there. Kana joins us now from California, a state that has fire concerns of its own. Kana, what are you learning tonight?
Well, amid those concerns, Lindsay, the biggest one right now in California is the Sites fire. And firefighters have a really ominous warning tonight, Lindsay. They're saying that already this year, they have seen a nearly 15% increase in the acreage burned from this time last year. That is a really scary statistic, Lindsay.
Certainly is. All right, Kana, thank you. Our chief meteorologist, Ginger Z, has been tracking it all for us tonight and all week long. Hey, Ginger.
Hey, Lindsay, we have officially made it to 90 degrees for New York City. That's nearly a month late. And unlike that early and long heat wave for parts of New England that is now coming to an end, we're seeing these storms ride along the ridge. We call them ridge riders. There are flood watches from New Mexico and Utah over to Minnesota. Severe thunderstorms from Toledo or the Toledo area and Detroit, Ann Arbor over to New England. So we'll watch that for tonight. But under that ridge, which is sticking around and actually kind of backtracking through the weekend, we're going to see more heat advisories. Those excessive heat watches are now out for Washington, D.C., Baltimore, and Philadelphia because temperatures are going to get to around 100, but then the feels likes are going to be closer to 105 or 110. So it will be in that dangerous category, especially if you're doing anything strenuous outside for a long period of time. Numbers are high all the way back to Chicago. Excessive heat warning is now on for Phoenix. They were hot again today. That heat advisories are building back into Northern California, that Sacramento Valley, and the numbers are going to stay hot as we go through the weekend and even early next week, which will dry more of those fuels out for the fires, unfortunately. And just wanted to say that this, everybody wants this to come to an end. Unfortunately, it looks quite toasty going all the way through the end of June and now July.
So if you noticed, I stopped asking you, is there any relief in sight? I said, you know what, it's time out for that question, but you certainly have the right weather gear there, those tank tops, just what the doctor ordered. Yes. Ginger, thank you. Now to the race for the White House and the first presidential debate 1 week from tonight, how President Biden and former President Trump are preparing for the face-off. And after President Biden won a coin toss, which podium did he choose? And who will have the last word? Here's ABC's Rachel Scott.
With just 1 week to go until the first presidential debate, President Joe Biden tonight traveling to Camp David to hunker down with a team of advisors as he prepares to face off against Donald Trump. And tonight, we are learning new details about how the debate will unfold. Biden won a coin toss and got to pick where he would stand on the stage. He chose the podium that will show up on the right side of the television screen. Trump then got to pick the order of closing statements and decided he would have the last word. For both, the stakes couldn't be higher. In an interview with David, Biden laying out his strategy.
What do you think you need to accomplish on that debate stage?
Say what I think. Let him say what he thinks. The things he said are off the wall. I want to be a dictator on day one. I want to move in a direction where he talks about, suspending the Constitution. All I have to do is hear what he says, remind people what he says and what I believe and what he believes. He's about him. I'm about the country.
Are you ready for this debate?
Yes.
At Camp David, Biden's former chief of staff, Ron Klain, will lead the prep sessions, which will include full 90-minute mock debates with the president standing at a mock podium.
Now, Joe Biden,
Trump taking a different approach.
Is anybody going to watch the debate?
No mock debates for him. Instead, sources say Trump has held more than a dozen policy meetings with Republican allies, including Senators J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, and his longtime political advisor Kellyanne Conway. And now, after weeks of attacking Biden's stamina and mental fitness, tonight Trump taking a different tune, saying he's not underestimating Biden on the debate stage, calling him a worthy debater.
All I can say is this. I watched him with Paul Ryan, and he destroyed Paul Ryan. Paul Ryan with the water. He was chugging water at a left and right. I didn't think a human being would be able to drink so much water at one time. And he beat Paul Ryan. So I'm not underestimating him. It is what it is.
Thanks to Rachel Scott. Now to the terrifying moments on board a Southwest passenger jet from Las Vegas to Oklahoma City when the plane suddenly dropped to about 525 feet above the ground, coming close to a school while trying to land. ABC's Victor Akendo has those details.
Tonight, the FAA investigating yet another concerning incident on a Southwest Airlines flight after a plane dropped to roughly 525 feet as it made its approach into Oklahoma City. A low-altitude alarm alerting air traffic control.
4069, low altitude alert. You good out there?
The plane passing roughly 625 feet over a high school. The flight taking off from Las Vegas Tuesday night, heading to Oklahoma City. It then pulled up and did a loop minutes later. Southwest stating the flight landed safely at Will Rogers World Airport, touching down just after 12 a.m. It comes just days after we learned a Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8 off the coast of Hawaii came within just 400 feet of slamming into the ocean in April. No one was injured, but the flight was diverted back to Honolulu.
Some scary moments there, thanks to Victor. There will be no charges for a USC student accused in the stabbing death of a homeless man. The student says that he believed that the man was breaking into a car near his fraternity. ABC's Ike Ajachi has the details.
Tonight, a USC student will not face charges after police say he confronted a homeless man allegedly breaking into a car and then fatally stabbed him. Authorities in Los Angeles say 19-year-old Ivan Gallegos and two friends approached the burglary suspect Xavier Surf around 8:15 p.m. on Monday behind Gallegos' fraternity house on Greek Row.
The person reporting advised that he confronted the suspect, and the suspect told him that he had a gun, resulting in the person reporting, stabbing the suspect.
The burglary suspect pronounced dead at the scene. Gallegos taken into custody and booked on $2 million bail. The incident occurring just blocks from campus and nearly a mile from where actor Johnny Wachter was shot and killed back in May after he interrupted thieves trying to steal his car's catalytic converter. Tonight in a statement, the district attorney declining to pursue charges against the business school junior, saying in part, "We believe that Mr. Gallegos' actions were driven by a genuine fear for his life and the lives of others. Our heart goes out to the deceased families, friends, and everyone impacted by this tragic incident."
Our thanks to Ike Ajachi for that. Still much more to get to. Coming up, it's the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. We go to the summer solstice at Stonehenge. Plus, one woman's quest to find out more about her family's history uncovers more about the past of Texas. Our conversation with the author, We Were Illegal, uncovering a Texas family's myth-making and migration.
Whenever news breaks,
we are here in Israel, a nation at war after that brutal surprise attack by Hamas.
On the ground in Ukraine, reporting from Lewiston, Maine.
The scene of a horrific mass shooting.
ABC News Live is right there everywhere.
From the scene of that deadly missile strike in Dnipro, Ukraine.
Reporting from the earthquake in Turkey.
In Rolling Fork, this tornado tore through this little town.
From the most devastating disaster in Hawaii.
From Charleston, South Carolina, on the 2024 campaign trail.
In Iceland, let's go.
Traveling with the president in Mexico City.
Wherever the story.
From the front lines, from southern Israel.
Outside the Gaza Strip.
In Beirut.
From the FBI.
Reporting from the nurses on the picket line.
Here at 10 Downing Street in London.
Streaming live to you.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is.
Wherever the story is. We're going to take you there.
You're streaming
ABC News Live.
ABC News Live.
You're streaming ABC News Live.
ABC News Live. Streaming free everywhere. America's #1 streaming news.
I experienced a lot of rejection, a lot of heartache. I'm a tough woman, but it's not easy. You're gonna feel lonely. There was a lot of personal stuff in my life that was really falling apart. But Mom and Daddy didn't raise no quitter.
Not everybody makes it.
It's taken me a really long time to even get to this moment.
And the CMA Award for Album of the Year for Female Vocalist of the Year.
Entertainer of the Year
goes to Lainey
Wilson.
That was a mic drop.
The Entertainer of the Year, baby.
What she is doing right now is changing country music.
I'm proud of myself. I really am. I have worked my ass off. Now it's time to see what's next. I do see the bell bottoms and the hat as my superhero outfit.
Reporting from the war in Ukraine, I'm Ian Pannell. Wherever the story is, we'll take you there. You're streaming ABC News Live.
Welcome back. We're tracking several headlines around the world. Nearly 2 million Muslims will reach the end of the Hajj pilgrimage this week, but extreme heat has proven deadly for hundreds who started the journey last Friday. France's AFP news agency has the death toll at more than 1,000. Climate scientists say such deaths offer a glimpse of what's to come as the earth warms. Hajj is an annual pilgrimage to Mecca, Saudi Arabia, the holiest city for Muslims. The trial for a Russian-American citizen accused of treason in Russia started today. Former ballerina Ksenia Karolina is accused of raising money to send to the Ukrainian army. Karolina, who is a dual citizen, was arrested at a Russian airport in February. She faces a sentence of up to 12 years if convicted. The trial has been adjourned until August. Revelers gather today to celebrate the summer solstice at Stonehenge. The monument is thought to hold spiritual significance and attracts thousands to Britain during the summer solstice, the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. The celebrations took place one day after environmentalist protesters spray painted Stonehenge with orange marks covering some of the stones of the prehistoric structure. Politicians and school boards in more than 20 states have sought to reshape curriculums to limit discussions not just of sex and gender, but of race, diversity, and potential sources of bias. In her new book, We Were Illegal, Uncovering a Texas Family's Myth-Making and Migration, author and journalist Jessica Goodell examines 200 years of her family tree and argues instead that it's healthier to reckon with one's family myths in the hopes to better understand, even unify, an entire nation. Jessica Goodell joins us now. Thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you so much for having me.
So I'm so impressed. You went back 7 generations. We're talking about even before the Texas Revolution.
Yeah.
What inspired that curiosity, and why did you decide that it was important to share with the world?
Yeah, my first book, After the Last Border, dealt with migration to Texas, looking at former refugees and others. And I began to question where my family came from. I really didn't know much about my family other than we'd been in Texas since 3 or 4 generations. And as I started to dig, I realized there's this fascinating history in my own family that I had never known about. One of my relatives owned the land in 1826 that I live on in Austin today. And so I found all kinds of stories, and they really helped me think about my own role in the history of Texas and also my family's place in our state.
Sometimes myth-making is harmless, but sometimes it can be clearly unhealthy and really do a disservice.
Yeah.
At what point do you think that a state or even a country should draw the line?
Yeah, I think we have a conversation right now in which it seems to some people that we're trying to change history. And I think what we're actually trying to do is expand history. I think history has often been centered around people who look like me. And when I went back to discover my family's past and look at kind of the larger picture, within context, I saw there were so many people that my family members had enslaved or that had been made victims of different narratives or different policies. And I think it's important that we expand that so that the myth that this is what actually happened is expanded to show some of the truth about the consequences of people's actions on the lives of so many people.
And you're talking specifically about Texas, and in many cases it's also Florida that's highly criticized for trying to whitewash history in addition to Texas. What would you say that you've learned that your state can help us all understand how to become a more perfect union?
Absolutely. So we just celebrated Juneteenth, and part of the story of Juneteenth that I think is really important that Texas understands, because it's really our holiday first, it's not just about celebrating freedom for Black people, it's also about the information suppression that happened for 2 years, right? And so understanding that information suppression is happening currently. I have a podcast about book banning and looking into how book banning happened. And I realized these are the same stories. This is the same kind of information suppression that was happening in the 1820s. And when you start to recognize we've been here before and we've also overcome this time period, I think it can really give us hope.
And what do you say also, because you talk about your own family, millions of residents of Texas now who ultimately come from people who migrated there, but we quite often hear Texas really being an area for a lot of rhetoric about immigration. Immigration is certainly a hot button issue and topic in our country right now, going into the election in November. So what would you say that Texas can teach, actually, America about immigration?
Yeah, I mean, it's something that is not an issue for us. This is a lived experience for so many. The title of the book comes from a book called Borderlands La Frontera by Gloria Anzaldúa, and it was the first time when I read it in college. She talks about how Anglos came illegally to Texas, and I had never thought about it. That's not how Texas history was taught to me, and school children in Texas learn Texas history in 4th and 7th grade. And I think so much of what happens in Texas, because we have so much immigration, because we're such a big state, if you've ever met a Texan, we're incredibly proud to be Texans. I am a very proud Texan, and I think it's almost a microcosm of many of the conversations that are happening. I learned in this, as Texas goes, so goes the nation. A lot of times we're leading the charge in good and bad ways around a lot of the issues that kind of spread then throughout the nation. So I think what happens in Texas has real implications for the rest of the United States.
Jessica Goudeau, we thank you so much for your time. I want to let our viewers know you can get a copy of We Were Illegal, Uncovering a Texas Family's Myth-Making and Migration, wherever books are sold. And still to come, the perfect blend of folk, soul, jazz, and classic pop. The members of Lake Street Dive talk about diving into relatable topics in a new way on their latest LP.
Whenever, wherever news breaks, it's so important to always remember that lives are changed.
Here in London, in Buffalo, Uvalde, Texas, Edinburgh, Scotland, from Poland once again tonight. Thank you so much for streaming with us. Ukrainian refugees here in Warsaw. Do you think you'll ever be able to go back home? We're heading to a small community outside of Mexico City. Splintered houses and splintered lives. The magnitude of the devastation. You're streaming ABC News Live. Reporting from Rolling Fork, Mississippi, Santa Fe, New Mexico, Raleigh, North Carolina, the U.S. Capitol, Mayfield, Kentucky,
Minneapolis,
Mexico, Tongass National Forest, Alaska.
Getting you behind the stories as they happen, giving you a front row seat to our world as it plays out in real time, live.
ABC News Live Prime. We'll take you there.
Stream ABC News Live weeknights, America's most honored streaming news program, only on ABC News Live, streaming free right now wherever you stream your news. What does it take to be the most watched newscast in America?
An operation to capture ISIS fighters.
Is this our Combat Operations Center?
We're approaching the gate now. Militants came in from 4 or 5 different directions.
Operational nuclear reactor.
So you have a couple loaded and ready to go. The house is destroyed, but the flag, there's not a tear in it.
Not a tear in it.
How important is this label right here, Made in the USA?
Look at your smile. You're proud of this.
I love this.
Great work.
Hi.
Where are you? Where are you?
Appreciate you.
Thank you, David. Good to meet you.
Ismail? David.
David.
Yes, yes. I'm David Muir.
I know who you are.
You
Watch
do?
you every night.
ABC's World News Tonight with David Muir is America's most watched newscast.
This band accomplishes an intricate balance between folk, soul, jazz, and classic pop. The 5 band members of Lake Street Dive come together to create this eclectic sound with nostalgic songs on wonder and youth. Now in their new LP called Good Together, the band is hoping to inspire and change a few mindsets. Let's take a listen. Can't help but bob your head to that. Mike Calabrese and Bridget Kearney, kind enough to join us tonight. That was the song Good Together off their new LP. We thank you so much for joining us. Give us a sense of the inspiration for this album.
We've been kind of putting the term on the theme of the record as joyful rebellion. So, yeah, it's kind of like there's plenty that we all are scared and sad and potentially angry about going on in the world, but we're fighting fire instead of with fire, with joy and with things that can bring folks together.
And Mike, I want to bring you in here because to that point, there's a lot going on that's heavy in the world. Do you feel like now is more important than ever to really get joy back in music?
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's one of the things that's easily forgotten, maybe one of the first things that goes. It's something you see a newborn child with. You know, joy kind of comes naturally to all of us, but I think when you get older, you might need to be a little bit more intentional about it and try to cultivate it.
And Bridget, part of this is the idea or theme of a lost childhood, and even when love isn't meant to last forever, it can still be magical. What was the inspiration for those themes?
Well, there's one song in particular on the album called 25 that's kind of about a love that existed and maybe wasn't built to last, but still can be celebrated for what it was. And yeah, I think that's kind of just has to do with an attitude of embracing the time that you're in and the moments that are great. And yeah, I don't know. Any further thoughts on that?
No, I think it's, you know, we've been a band for 20 years, and, you know, you write enough breakup songs and you go, like, what's a new twist on a breakup song?
Sure.
And sometimes it's a good thing, you know, or at least it doesn't sting anymore looking back.
Well, tell us about Dance with a Stranger and its square dancing roots.
Yeah, so I was up in Kingston, New York, working on writing songs for this record, and someone invited me out to a weekly honky-tonk at the VFW Hall. And it was just really inspiring to me as like a gathering point for the community. And there was people there of all ages, people from the country, people from the city. And it's just such a beautiful thing when you can see someone and say, hello, nice to meet you. Would you like to hug me for 3 minutes and spin around the room? And, you know, it's a point of connection. And then you might see that person, you know, later at the grocery store and say, hey, remember me? Or at a, you know, maybe you might even come into conflict with them at some point, but you've encountered them in this setting that invites human connection.
And Mike, you mentioned that you all have been together for 20 years. What would you say that you've learned together, or how you all have evolved during that 2 decades?
Yeah, I mean, we literally grew up together, and I think it's, you know, a lot of people don't really know behind the scenes what it takes to be a touring band and stay together for a lot of years, but we've, you know, you need to be a decent musician to do this job, but more importantly, you need to know how to hang, you know. But we've had our backs, each other's backs, for 20 years, and that's, you know, that's how you grow.
Speaking of hanging, you guys are about to hang at some big venues like Madison Square Garden, for example.
Yeah.
Does that excitement still come through each time? Does it get old?
You know, well, touring is a grind like anything else, but I don't know. Madison Square Garden's really exciting.
Yeah, that's like, I live here in Brooklyn, so it's like not only, you know, this world famous arena, but it's like my hometown arena. So, you know, I've had so many good experiences there, seeing Billy Joel and Anderson .Paak, and yeah, it's going to be amazing.
And now Lake Street Dive, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you both so much for joining us. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Want to let our viewers know you can listen to Lake Street Dive's new LP, Good Together, out tomorrow. And that is our show for tonight. I'm Lindsay Davis. ABC News Live is here for you all night with the latest news, context, and analysis. You can always find us on Hulu, Roku, Pluto TV, the ABC News app, and of course on abcnews.com. The news never stops. Thanks so much for streaming with us. Have a great night.
All right, let the dogs out, please.
I don't think he's going to